All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are diving deep into a story that spans entire galaxies and eons. It's all about our forgotten cosmic heritage, as told in the book The Prism of Lyra. So get ready, because this is going to be a rapid-fire journey through the universe. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. What if our lives, our conflicts, our greatest triumphs, what if all of it is just us playing out a role in some massive cosmic play? And the wildest part? We've completely forgotten the script. It's a huge idea, right? So let's dive into this. Okay, here's our roadmap. We're going to start at the very beginning with the Great Fragmentation. Then we'll get into a massive galactic family war, figure out where Earth fits into all this, meet some of our unseen neighbors, and finally, try to nail down what humanity's cosmic purpose really is. So first up, the Great Fragmentation. Our story starts before the beginning, in a state of pure integrated consciousness we'll call the whole. So imagine this. Before anything existed as we know it, all consciousness was one single unified thing. But then it got curious. It basically asked itself, what would it be like to completely forget who I am and then have to remember it all over again? And that single question was so powerful, it literally kicked off our entire reality. It's like a cosmic game of hide and seek with itself. So how did a unified consciousness just split apart? The book gives us this incredible metaphor, the Prism of Lyra. Think about how a crystal prism takes one beam of white light and shatters it into a whole rainbow of colors. Well, the idea here is that consciousness did the exact same thing. It passed through this cosmic prism, and boom, it fragmented into 7 different frequencies, or what the book calls densities. We as humans are hanging out in the 3rd density. That's the frequency defined by self-awareness, individuality, and of course, that powerful illusion that we're all separate from each other. Okay, so once consciousness fragmented, the first characters start to show up on the stage. And this is where a galactic family drama of epic proportions really begins. The first humanoid civilizations popped up in the Lyra constellation. You can think of them as the symbolic Adam and Eve of our galactic family. But as they spread out, so did this idea of polarity, of opposites. The Vikings branched off with a totally different philosophy, one of self-service, which naturally created a ton of friction. The conflict then moved to Sirius, but it was in the Orion constellation where everything just exploded into a full-blown war that would last for eons. Now here is the most crucial point to get. This wasn't a war of good versus evil, not in the way we think about it. It was a war of philosophies, and frankly, both were totally out of balance. On one side, you had service to self, the philosophy of domination, arguing that strengthening yourself is what ultimately serves the whole. On the other side was service to others, a philosophy of subservience, believing that you had to sacrifice yourself for the group. See the problem? One side denied the whole by their actions, the other denied themselves as a valid part of the whole. It created this massive energy impasse, a stalemate that nobody could win. So you've got this galactic war at a complete standstill. What do? You need a new stage. You need a neutral ground where you can try one last time to integrate these powerful opposing energies. And the stage they chose? Well, it was a little blue-green planet called Earth. Yeah, so according to this story, Earth isn't just some random cosmic accident that happened to have life. It was chosen. It was a deliberate experiment, a place designed so that all the different genetic lines, from Lyra, from Vega, from Orion, could all incarnate together in one grand, messy, beautiful attempt to finally heal the fragmentation that started it all. And the book presents the story of Adam and Eve as a really powerful allegory for what happened next. When God says man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil, that is polarity. Humanity was intentionally given this awareness. It was our entry ticket into the cosmic drama. But here's the huge twist. We were given the knowledge of polarity, but we were cut off from the tree of life, which represents our memory of our galactic origins. So think about it. We were put on stage to resolve this massive cosmic conflict, but without the script. Our primary purpose then becomes the journey of remembering, to figure out who we are, all on our own. Now, what makes this even more interesting is that we're not alone in this experiment. There are other galactic relatives, you could say, who have a pretty big stake in how our story turns out. First, you've got the Pleiadians. Think of them as our closest cosmic cousins. They're deeply tied to us both genetically and historically. They have their own past issues with negativity and conflict to work through, and by watching us grapple with our shadow self, they're vicariously learning how to heal and integrate their own. And then you have the really dramatic story of the Zeta Reticuli, which is basically a huge cautionary tale for humanity. You could see them as a potential future version of us. Their homeworld was destroyed by the exact same forces of polarity we're facing now. To survive, they went to an extreme. They engineered emotion and individuality right out of their DNA, becoming a hive mind. But now, they realize their species is literally dying out. They've lost that spark. So they interact with us, studying our emotions and our individuality in a desperate attempt to remember how to feel and save themselves from stagnation. Okay, let's bring this all home. If this grand story is true, what's our role in all of it? What is humanity's purpose? It all comes down to one word: integration. All of human history, the wars, the division, the constant struggle between domination and victimhood. It's all just an echo of the Orion conflict. We are the descendants of both sides, carrying their patterns inside our very DNA, trying to finally find the balance that they never could. So how do we do it? The path forward, according to the book, is integration on every single level. Mentally, it's about combining our sharp logic with our deep intuition. Emotionally, it's about facing our own darkness instead of projecting it onto everyone else. Spiritually, it's about learning to see the one truth behind all the different beliefs. And finally, on a physical level, it's about accepting our real place as part of a vast, interconnected galactic family. Ultimately, this whole story suggests that our entire human journey, every single challenge, every discovery, isn't really about moving forward into some unknown future. It's about remembering our way back to the whole, back to the source, and most importantly, back home to ourself.